All right, you need to take a break, or you want to go on with some more stuff?
Let's do another. Let's do at least one story.
Okay.
Unless you've got like a block of shit you want to do.
I got different stuff.
All right.
We were talking. What we've been talking about. The thing is that we are so out of control these days with anything goes.
Mm-hmm.
We did a story about, I don't know, maybe it was about 6 months ago to maybe 2 months.
Okay.
Where there's this super sexually transmitted diseases.
Right. Sure.
It was over on that Holiday Island. Where was it? It was over like in the England area or somewhere around there, or Ireland or somewhere.
I forget what the island was called, but yeah.
Yeah. But apparently we're hearing more and more about these viruses and stuff that are just like cropping up.
Right.
And they're like super viruses.
Right.
And they don't have anything that can combat them. And here's the thing, and I'm not going to get into political commentary on this, but this is what I don't understand about people in general.
Okay.
Especially in this country.
Yeah.
The people who sit there and make these comments that, this Donald Trump's wall is just a stupid idea. It's just stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got people filtering in here from God knows where. And there are these viruses and things that are just like so powerful.
Right.
We have no treatment for them.
No.
And a lot of these viruses are being transmitted from people from these third world countries that don't have any kind of medical care. And if we're allowing people just to come across our border from without even knowing who they are, where they're from, if they're carrying some disease, and people are going, it's just dumb. It's just a stupid idea. It's like, why are we as Americans, especially the ones who don't live near the border, why are you so opposed to trying to stave off people from just wandering in here carrying whatever disease it is that you might have?
Dude, you gotta be free for everybody, man.
Really? Because I don't know where these people are from.
You see, this is just like Jaded Quartz was saying.
Yeah.
You're not very compassionate to people that are less loved than you.
No, well, it's just the thing is that when people used to immigrate to this country legally,
mm-hmm.
they used to give you a checkup and check you out, make sure that you weren't bringing something in here.
And that was racist.
Yeah.
It was a very racist thing to do. They should have just let them in with open arms.
Sure.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Well, here's
don't you know that we have to make up for our past mistakes?
Yeah, okay.
Come on.
I just don't understand why people are so willing to put themselves at risk.
Well, dude, if they want to put themselves at risk, fine. Don't put me at risk.
Well, but the thing is, by people who are opposing that kind of legislation mm-hmm. or enforcing legislation that are currently out there, they're putting everybody at risk.
Well, maybe you could bribe Obama to say that it's a good thing so that they'll just embrace it.
Right, of course. So anyway, a new cure for a super gonorrhea.
Mm-hmm.
A trial of drug cocktail of 2 antibiotics clears up the STD, which is slowly becoming resistant to current first-line drugs. So the stuff that worked yesterday ain't
mm-hmm.
working today.
Nice.
So, and here's the thing. It's just like there's a virus. Nobody even knows what it is. Mm-hmm. And they have to quarantine these people because there's no treatment for it.
You hear that, Lou, from the Lou? Lies again.
Yeah. Scientists have discovered a new combination of drugs which could tackle a super gonorrhea.
Mm-hmm.
It could.
Could.
Doesn't say it is or it does.
Mm-hmm.
A powerful strain of the STD has been caught by 3 people in the UK since it was discovered last year and is proving difficult to treat.
Right.
Of the two currently using antibiotics, the researchers kept one and swapped the other one used for ear and eye infections, septicemia, and meningitis.
Okay.
They found it works almost as well against gonorrhea as the current frontline treatment, which the team said is beginning to fail.
Okay.
So it's just like, well, this stuff is kind of like overtaking what we use. Now we're going to have to get something stronger.
Yeah, of course.
That's the same way as these people who are always using Purell.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're constantly, disinfecting.
Sure.
And sooner or later, the drugs or the bugs that they're trying to disinfect against, they just get stronger.
Yeah, they'll get used to the Purell.
Of course.
Yeah.
And the thing is like when you and I were kids, and kids, decades before us,
sure,
we would play outside. We would play in the dirt. We would play, out in the environment.
Of course.
And that would strengthen our immunities.
Yeah.
Because we were playing outside in the dirt and we're exposed to everything out there. But now everybody is such germaphobes.
Yeah.
That you see these helicopter parents, whenever their kids are touching anything, they run over there with their little Purell thing and wipe their hands off immediately.
Yeah.
And they're just weakening their kids.
Dude, don't you remember when we were kids, and I remember doing this specifically, so maybe it's just a Chris thing, not an everybody thing, but we'd be out playing, and, I was 8 years old or whatever, and we always had, like, trees, and there was always, like, sand boxes and shit around and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. And we would play in that shit, and then so-and-so would make lunch, like so-and-so's mom.
Yeah.
Would call all of us over to have lunch. We didn't go running in and even wash our fucking hands. It was like...
Yeah.
And then you'd sit down and eat a fucking cheese sandwich or something, and half the time you'd start taking a bite and you'd be biting into, like, sand.
Exactly.
You didn't care, and none of us cared. None of us were like, whoa, I better run inside and wash my hands.
And then you never got sick.
Yeah, I mean, the solution was, well, let me hurry up and eat this so I can go back and play.
Exactly.
Yeah, we weren't worried about fucking Purell. I don't even remember that shit until I was an adult.
Of course.
Do you remember ever having, like, hand sanitizer?
I didn't hear about hand sanitizer till, like, the late 90s.
Yeah, that's about when I remember it. Yeah, I don't remember it as a kid at all.
None.
No. Like I said, we didn't even have a towel. It was just fuck it. We're dirty, so what?
Exactly.
Nothing wrong with eating a little dirt.
Right. Hail and Kill Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So I was at a concert tonight. I went to Winery Dogs. And last night I went to see Whitechapel and Dying Fetus. And if you remember, I called in a couple of weeks ago and I went to see Dokken in Jersey. And I met Don afterwards and whatever. And my question is that how comes, who sets the scene for what time bands go on at? The reason I ask is that, so Winery Dogs tonight, done at 11, out the door, perfect. Last night, Whitechapel, done at about 11:45, done out the door. The night they went to see Dokken, they went on at 11:25 p.m. with 4 shitty fucking crap support bands beforehand. That one was a cross between Judas Priest and Malice, so bad. So who sets the time? I mean, surely Don did not want to go on at 11:25. I'm guessing, given that he's not like 25 or whatever, because you never know going to a concert. So you walk in the door, you grab a beer or whatever, you hang out, and you have no idea what time the band are coming on at. Who sets that time? I'm just intrigued by that because it's so different. I'm in Dallas right now on a business trip or whatever, so I'm not in Jersey. Any ideas, input on that one?
Well, there are several things. Number one is obviously the local curfew. If the local curfew is until 3 o'clock in the morning, the bar will want to keep people in the bar as long as they can, so they might put the headliner on as late as they can. in order to keep people there to continue drinking and buying drinks. Another one.
But would the headliner have to agree to that beforehand? Because just going back to the Dockin gig, like the guys came on 11:25, which pissed me off because I said, "Fuck's sake!"
It pissed you off, but Dockin gets paid the same. It doesn't matter.
No, I know that. No, I would be aware of that. But would that have to be agreed with?
No,
whatever band beforehand.
Not at all.
Wow.
They're paid to come and play a show, and they're there to play a show.
No, but surely the band, like, I mean, if Dockin are, traveling to, the next gig the next morning, flying to wherever.
Do you think their promoter at that club cares about what they're doing the next night?
No, he doesn't give a shit.
So there's your answer.
Right. All right.
The bands come in expecting to play to close, quite frankly. They expect to play to close, and they're happier when they don't.
But what about then if just going back to the Dockin gig, what about if those guys had to get up at fucking 4 a.m. to go wherever? Can they then stipulate? No, but your answer can answer my question. But can they push back and go, fuck this, we're not going on 11:25 because we're up at 4 a.m. flying to wherever. You can put the shitty support band on at 6 and have the doors open at 5 instead of having the doors open at 7, band go on at 8 or whatever, whatever the complexities would be on the night or whatever.
The band doesn't dictate to the promoter what they're going to do or not going to do, or they just won't play the gig.
Here's why they won't do that. Hold on. Here's why the band will not do that. Because if they do it, they won't be brought back.
So it's all about the bar sales, I guess. Or unless there's a curfew.
Well, it's the curfew. Go ahead.
What club you saw Don in last night, Don wants to come back there in 6 months or 8 months or a year.
Right.
And if he was a dick to the club owner and he was a hassle, the club owner would be like, fuck Dockin, I'm not bringing them in.
And the reputation would get out there that said, if you want to hire Dockin, just beware because they're difficult to work with.
Exactly.
But then Dockin, I'm not picking on Dockin. I'm just saying that
you're just using them as an example. I get it.
Yeah. So, but the band must know or have an idea what time they're going on at before they sign some kind of contract, I guess.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't.
Wow. Okay. Fuck.
And it also has to do is if the venue is in a union situation where they have union workers, the union dictates what goes on at the club and at what time. That's another consideration.
Would that be what you're talking about, curfew time? Like they've got to be done by 11.
Well, no,
I'm
talking about the city curfew. The city might tell the club that they need to have everybody out the door by 2:00 or something, or the union, if it's a union-run club or a theater where the union workers, they might say, well, everybody's got to be out of here by midnight because our union guys go home at midnight.
So the band can never dictate terms in terms of finish time?
Usually not, no.
Are you starting a band? Jesus, dude.
I just go to a lot of concerts.
Well, this is a question for Eddie Trunk. He's the guy you should call, not us.
I listen to Eddie Trunk in a regular. I get Eddie. I got another question for you. So just to change subject, because I'm obviously pissing Chris off. So let's move on.
Because we know everything. Go ahead.
Obviously, yeah. According to Don, you talk about fucking nothing. Remember I said that? But the other thing I have is that, so I listen to, I'm sure a lot of your viewers do, or listeners do, and I know you do. I listen to 5 or 6 different podcasts per week. So let me think, and top of my head. So listen to Eddie Trunk. This is every single week. You guys, obviously, the Desolate Geek guys, Dee Snider's new one, which I think is excellent. What else? What's the other one? Mitch LaFon, he's all right. And whatever. And Bob Nalbandian in the New Skull Sessions. So, with the exception of Bob's fucking voice recently, but anyway. But why do 2 of those, Mitch LaFon, who went independent recently, and Snyder, why do they ask for money? Like,
why do they ask for money?
Yeah, like they're asking for donations in PayPal and whatever. Because you guys don't do it.
Well, because because they feel or believe that their contribution to a podcast is worth something, so they shake the pan. Chris and I have made it very clear that we wouldn't do this if we are thinking that we need to somehow profit from it. Chris does very well on his own. I do very well on my own. We do this because it's fun for us. If we did it because we think we're going to get paid for it, we probably wouldn't do it.
Right.
No, I know that. I mean, I'm listening to CMS for many years. Jesus, 6 or 7 years. I can't remember. So I get where you're coming from. I mean, I know the content, the structure, whatever. But why would someone like Dee Snider? Is that because is he because he's a big rock star, or is it because he's on a syndicate, or is he told to ask for this because of sponsors, whatever?
Because Dee's wired that way. Dee's wired that if he does a public performance, he gets paid.
Yeah, he's a performer. He makes money. It's like, well, I perform with Twisted Sister, or I perform as a solo artist, or I do a radio show. I should get paid.
But what about Eddie Trunk then? Eddie Trunk is like one of the big guys who started commenting podcasting and rock and metal content. He does not ask for money.
Because he's on Podcast One.
Because he gets sponsors. He gets paid, but his sponsors, he has sponsors.
Podcast One finds him those ads. When he's reading for Burger King or whatever, that's because Podcast One finds him those, and that's how he gets paid. He gets paid. He probably gets paid. I don't know this, but he probably gets paid X amount per show, and then he has to do the reads to pay for it.
No, I mean, I've heard the stupid ads. I mean, the first with Trunk's his average podcast is about 1 hour, maybe 1 hour 20 minutes or something like that, whatever. The first 20 minutes are him talking about where he's going to be. So, hey, I'm going to be in the Gas Monkey in Dallas this weekend, or hey, I'm going to be in Clearwater, Tampa, whatever, which is fine for the people who are going to be there, but for most of us, we're not going to be there, so just flick forward those fucking things. You never listen to the commercials because they're nonsense. They're talking about whatever. So are they aware that most people don't listen just because obviously on the podcast, you got your 15-second or 30-second, flick forward or whatever. That most people are not listening to that shit. Do they know that, or is that just...
Why are you asking us if they're aware of it?
I'm not asking you. I'm just kind of having a discussion.
You are. You just said, are they aware that people don't listen? You asked.
Okay, Chris. Well, do you think they're aware of where the ads are in the first place?
I think they know that a certain percentage is going to hear it. They're aware that some people skip it, some people listen to it, some people are interested enough to know where Eddie's going to be just in case they're a fan or something. But that's just part of the game. It's a hit and miss. It's a gamble that these sponsors take. They go, well, Eddie's a name, and if we could get on his podcast and we could get people to listen, we might catch 30% of his listeners, and that's the risk we're willing to take.
Well, one of the things that Dee Snider did, which I thought was interesting, is he left a phone number every week. He says, here's a number to call about a subject. And I actually asked him that question, which he may or may not, talk about whatever. I don't care. But I asked him that question because what he's doing is he's saying, call this number, whatever the number is, and say, and give me your topic, and I'll discuss it, or whatever. And one of the things that I put back on him, just backtrack a sec, is he said that, if you subscribe to his podcast, you get the content earlier, or you get it 2 days early, whatever. You get, extra content, whatever. And I called him back and said, well, that's bullshit to me, because that's not...
All right, good. Thank you.
I'm sorry, dude. We don't have all the answers to what every individual podcaster is doing.
Yeah. Call them.
Yeah. Everybody does things differently for whatever reason.
Yeah. And when you hear that I'm getting riled up, know that that's your manager calling. Jesus.
Why do they do that? I don't know. Why do they do that?
What about that? Well, Dee's had to make money.
I'm sorry. This isn't inside baseball.
It's certainly not inside Dee Snider's podcast.
When does Eddie Trunk do this?
Yeah, who sets the time?
He does 20 minutes of commercials and where he's going to be. Don't people know that he fast forward through that?
Motherfuck, dude, get a puppy. Jesus Christ.
I guess that whole podcasting world is just fascinating to people.
Yeah, I guess, but my goodness.
It's a different world we live in. Some people listen, some people don't.
Yeah, well, geez, oh man.
Some people support, some people don't.
See, what he should do is buy a microphone. Because that guy could clearly talk for an hour.
He should do his own podcast.
That's what I'm saying. Then he would have all his answers brought to him.
Yeah.
Experience. Holy smokes. Ring, ring, I'm calling back. Do we get this? No. Do not answer the phone.
No.
I don't care if it rings or not. Do not answer that phone.
Right. All right, to finish this up real quick, researchers at the University of Birmingham trialed the new drug combination on 720 patients at 14 sexual health clinics in England. The patients were infected with normal strains. They were infected with normal strains of gonorrhea.
The normal strains.
With the researchers wanting to test how well the new drug combination treated it. Usually the common STD is treated with an injection of antibiotics, but the new combination uses a azoratham, whatever, and I can't even pronounce his name, together instead. So just beware. There's some really strong shit out there.
Yeah, pal.
Our current antibiotic treatment for gonorrhea is beginning to fail. An experience with the previous drug strongly suggests that this could become a widespread problem.
That's right.
Our trial has found that gentamicin combined with azithromycin works almost as well as a couple other drugs together for genital gonorrhea, but it did not clear throat or rectal gonorrhea.
Oh, that's good.
Throat or rectal gonorrhea.
Boy, I'd hate to be the one that has both.
Right.
Ooh.
We believe these drugs should remain the first-line treatment for gonorrhea, particularly for patients with genital infections and those who are allergic or intolerant to the other drugs.
Right.
Public Health England revealed in January that the two women had been infected with a super gonorrhea, which was resistant to the first choice treatment. One of them was confirmed to have been first to catch it in the UK, while the other one brought it back from holiday. Oh, there it is, Ibiza.
Ibiza, that's right.
That was the thing. Both cases were connected to the Spanish party island, but the women reportedly didn't know each other.
Mm-hmm.
Gonorrhea does not usually lead to complications, but if left untreated, it can cause a serious health issue, including pelvic inflammatory diseases and an infertility in women. In the study, 98% of the patients given this drug had their gonorrhea cured after 2 weeks, compared to 91% of those treated with the new drug. The findings suggest that this new drug could offer an alternative for patients if they do not respond to the first choice treatment. So this shit's just getting stronger.
Lovely.
Feeling stronger every day.
That's right. Bum, bum, bum.
Exactly. The researchers said further work is needed to find alternative treatments with antibiotic resisting a growing problem.
Mm-hmm.
The researchers provided important new evidence that suggests that gentamicin with another drug could become a second-line treatment for patients who are resistant to the first-line treatments.
Great.
So here we are, people carrying around some pretty strong stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to get it.
No.
So be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Lou.
Be careful out there.
Yeah, Lou.
All right, well, let's play a couple of tunes and come back and wrap up the show.
All right, we going to play some Girth?
Yeah, sure. I got it pulled up here.
All right. Play Blood, Lust, and Lies.
All right. Blood, Lust, and Lies. Let's see here.
It's like track 4 or 5 or something.
I got it. It's 4.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is a Cleveland band called Girth.
Yeah.
And this one comes from their Freedom Rising release, and this is Blood, Lust, and Lies exclusively here
on your classic metal show.